लेक्चर संपतो मग काय करायचं. शांत बस. रेकॉर्डिंग चालू आहे, आवाज जातो ते. बदल चॅनल. बस तिथं थोडा टाकू औषध. मग बस ना तिथं. काय पाहिजे. नंतर लेक्चर झाल्यावर थोड्या वेळाच लेक्चर आहे, आज शेवटचं लेक्चर आहे. Yes, can audible? Okay. So starting with today's lecture. In today's lecture we are going to discuss the quick review of the organon. That is summary of the aphorisms. And in third year you have total aphorisms, that is from aphorism number 1 to aphorism number 291. That is according to 6th edition of Organon of Medicine. So in this we will take the summary what is in each aphorism. So in this, starting with aphorism number 1, all of you know this that is second year part, that is up to 104, up to case taking. But for the sake of revision we will revise it again. So you all know that is the mission of physician, that is explained in aphorism number 1. Then aphorism number 2 is related to the ideal cure, that is the highest ideal of cure, it is explained in it. Then aphorism number 3, having the knowledge of physician, or the 3, 4, 5 they combinedly given as the physician's qualification. So in this, in aphorism number 3 there is a perception of disease, medicine and application, that is what are the different knowledges that physician must have to practice the homeopathy. Then aphorism number 4 is related to the epidemiology, or we call it as a preserver of health, as physician must be a preserver of health. Then aphorism number 5, it is related to the different causes of diseases, and in this they mainly explain the three causes, that is exciting cause, maintaining cause and the fundamental cause. Exciting cause which excite the disease condition, maintaining cause which maintain the disease condition, and the fundamental causes are the miasms, that is psora, psychosis and syphilis. Then aphorism number 6 and 7, it is related to the manifestation of disease, how the disease is manifested. In this, 6 is related to the unprejudiced observer, that is while forming the portrait of the disease, physician must be an unprejudiced observer. If he is prejudiced, there must be a wrong portrait of a disease or patient can be formed. Then aphorism number 7, it is related to the removal of totality of the symptoms, means removal of disease. That is, in this they explain that is when we remove the totality of symptoms which is present in a patient, that means there is the removal of disease. It is explained in aphorism number 7. Then aphorism number 8, it is related to the restoration of health. How the physician makes the restoration of health, it is explained in aphorism number 8. Then aphorism number 9 to 17, it is related to the vital force, and it is one of the long question, that is vital force, having aphorism number 9 to 17. And in these aphorisms, aphorism number 9 having the properties of vital force, then aphorism number 10 having material body with vital force, aphorism number 11 vital force in disease state, aphorism number 12 that is disease due to internal derangement of vital force. Then 13 gives the materialism in medicine. What is the materialism in medicine? Then 14 is related to disease manifestation. 15 is affection of vital force. 16 is removal of dynamic caused by dynamic medicine. And 17 it is removal of symptoms, means the cure with the help of a medicine. And lastly the aphorism number 18, in this they give the symptom totality. In some book it is related to the vital force, that is aphorism number 9 to 18 also, that is symptom totality is explained in aphorism number 18. So these are the aphorisms which having the different points in them. So after this, the aphorism number 19 to 24, it is related to the knowledge of remedies, knowledge of drugs, then proving, then formal deviation of normal law of similars. That is, in this mainly the modus operandi they explain in this. That is, in 19 how medicines cure, in 20 it is related to knowledge of drug, that is drug proving, then pathogenetic symptoms, curative medicine. 21, 22 it is related to somewhat antipathy. Then 23 demerits of antipathy, and 24 it is only similia similibus curenter. So this is related to the some knowledge of remedies, drug and the proving, all near about the different pathies and the slightly explain about the antipathy and the drug proving. Then aphorism number 25 to 29, it is mainly the homeopathic law of cure, how the homeopathic cure takes place. It is explained in these aphorisms, that is 25 to 29, and in this the main aphorism, that is the 26, having the therapeutic law of nature, that is homeopathic law of cure also we call it as a, or nature's law of cure also. That is 25 having the merits of homeopathy, 26 nature's law of cure, 27 that is curative power of medicine, symptoms similar of disease, then 28 having the confirmation of law of nature, and 29 it is related to the how homeopathic cure takes place, that is the modus operandi. You have to remember the word modus operandi means how homeopathic cure takes place. It is mainly explained in aphorism number 29. Then aphorism, next group of aphorism is aphorism number 30 to 34, and in this they explain about how medicines are stronger than the natural disease. Why our medicines are stronger than the natural disease? As we know that we have to annihilate the natural disease from the body, and for this reason our medicine must have stronger power as compared to the natural disease. Then and then only the natural disease can be annihilated. So this is explaining a group of aphorism, that is 30 to 34, and in this the aphorism number 30 is related to regulation of dose. 31 it is medicine act unconditionally, conditional and unconditional forces, these are explained in this. Then 32 it is natural diseases affects conditionally, and what we form the artificial diseases they act unconditionally, that is 33 it is related to medicines are superior than the natural diseases that cures the disease condition, and dissimilar diseases does not cure but similar diseases cures the patient. So it is the group of aphorism that is related to, mainly in this aphorism you have to remember the conditional and unconditional forces. Then aphorism number 35 to 42, these are mainly related to the law of dissimilars, that we call it as a, when two dissimilar diseases meet together in body, what happens? So this is the aphorism number 35 to 42, that is what happens when two dissimilar diseases meet together in body. And in this you know the three conditions, that is when two dissimilar diseases meet together body, they never cure one another but they form the, they will suppress, they will form the complex disease in them. So in this 35 they explain about what happens when two dissimilar diseases meet together. 36 it is related to exciting stronger repels the weaker. Then 37 it is related to allopathic chronic diseases remains uncured. 38 it is new stronger suspend the weaker one, and 39 it is the routine example which is explained about the dissimilar diseases. 40 it is related to the complex diseases. 41 natural plus artificial forms the complex diseases, and dissimilar diseases complicates one another, that is the 42. So all this related to the law of dissimilars. It is also a long question, many of the times it is asked in exam, that is for a long question. Aphorism number 35 to 42, that is what happens when two dissimilar diseases meet together in body. Then aphorism number 43 to 51. These are related to what happens when similar diseases meet together in body. So in this you have to remember that when two dissimilar diseases meet in body, they never cure one another. But when two similar diseases meet together in body, they will cure one another. So that is 43 to 51, it is related to what happens when two similar diseases meet together. So in this aphorism number 43, it is related to the two similar diseases cure one another. 44, they neither repel nor suspend nor found the complex disease. Then in 45 they explain how they work. 46, examples of similar diseases. 47, it is the lesson regarding the similar diseases. Then 48, what experience teach, it is explained in this. Then 49, it is the minute observation of our master. Then aphorism number 50, it is related to why for cure we should not depend upon nature. That is why we not depend upon the nature even if the nature cure some disease conditions. And then the advantage of similia, that is the law of similia, is given in 51. So all these group of aphorisms are related to what happens when similar diseases meet together in body. Then aphorism number 52 to 60. This is the group of aphorism in which the different system of medicines are explained. That is 52 to 60, and in this the different systems, you know, all you know that is the homeopathy, isopathy, antipathy, allopathy, their advantages, their disadvantages, all this is explained in these aphorisms, that is 52 to 60. Then aphorism number 61 and 62, it is the ideal system of medicine, and in this they explain about the disadvantages of antipathy and the advantages of homeopathy. That is, it is also part of a different system of medicine. So you can consider that 52 to 62, these are the different system of medicine. Then from aphorism number 63 to 69, this is the next group of aphorism and having the different topic, that is primary and secondary action. These are explained in these aphorisms, that is 63 to 69. So in this the 63 they explain about the primary and secondary action. Then aphorism number 64 having explanation about the primary action. Then 65 it is the examples. Then 66 having the medicines, primary and secondary action. What are the different medicines or how they act, that is the primary and secondary action. Now in 67 they explain about the antipathy, primary and secondary action. That is what are the different relation between antipathy and primary and secondary action. So in this aphorism, that is aphorism number 67, having the footnote also, that we call it as a suspended animation, that is explained under footnote 67. Then aphorism number 68, these are the advantages of homeopathy. What are the different advantages of homeopathy? It is explained in 68 and 69, having the disadvantages of antipathy. So these are the group of aphorisms that is related to primary and secondary action from 63 to 69. Then aphorism number 70, it is related to the summary of these all aphorisms. Aphorism number 1 to aphorism number 69. This having summary in aphorism number 70 and aphorism number 71. These are the 3 points necessary for cure. that is explained in aphorism number 71. Up to aphorism number 70, it is the theoretical part, and that you know all know that is organon is divided into two parts, that is the theoretical part and the practical part. So up to aphorism number 70, it is the theoretical part of organon, and from aphorism number 72, it is the practical part of the organon. So the between aphorism, that is the aphorism number 71, they give the three necessary point for the cure. And what are these three necessary point? Anyone can tell? What are the three necessary points of cure? Near about all exams, in all exams they ask about for 2 marks question, that is the aphorism number 71. Explain about the three necessary points of cure. Which are these? Three necessary point of cure. Yes. Yes, again 2 points. हाँ हाँ बोल ना. हाँ. हम्म. That is, you may call it as a knowledge of medicine, knowledge of disease, and how to apply the medicinal knowledge to the disease knowledge. That application is the third point. So these are the three necessary point which is given in this aphorism, that is aphorism number 71. And this is the common question, that is in every exam they ask for a 2 marks question. So you have to properly remember it and you have to write properly. That is aphorism number 71. Very simple question. Then from 72, it is starting of a practical part. Now starting with the practical part, having the aphorism number 72 to 81, it is related to classification of diseases. And it is one of the most important question, that is the classification of diseases. In this, they explain about the different types of diseases or the classification of diseases according to Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. So in this they explain about the classification of diseases. Then aphorism number 82, it is related to the individualization of the patient, or what is the importance of individualization. This is explained in aphorism number 82. You have to remember the aphorism number, that is 82, related to the individualization. It can be asked as a question for 2 marks, that is individualization explained in aphorism number 82. Then from aphorism number 83 to 104, this is related to the case taking. And in this case taking, they explain different aphorisms, as in aphorism number 83, having the uh, what are the qualities of a physician, that is free from prejudice, having a sound senses, he must be an attentive observer. Then aphorism number 84, it is recording of the symptoms. Then 85, new symptoms on fresh line. 86, physician's observation. All these are the different guidelines given by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann while we are taking the case taking of a patient. Then in this you have to remember the aphorisms, that is 96 and 97. That is 96 is related to hypochondriac patient, and 97 it is related to indolent patient. These are also 2 marks question that is repeatedly asked. That is 96 hypochondriac patient, 97 indolent patient. So these are the different aphorisms, that is aphorism number 83 to 104, related to the case taking. It can be asked for a long question, or it having a 2 marks question that is related to hypochondriac indolent patient and all these things, or what are the qualities of a physician, or what are the different guidelines given by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. Then this is the part up to second year syllabus. From third year syllabus, you having a aphorisms that is 105 to 291. So from starting the third year part, yes, okay. Hypochondriac patients are the patients which explain their complaints in exaggerated form, and the indolent patients are the lazy patients who do not explain their complaints. हायपोकॉन्ट्रॅक्ट पेशंट असे असतात की थोडा आजार थोडा आहे पण काय वाढवून सांगतात, प्रत्येक गोष्ट काय करतात इन द एक्झॅग्रेटेड फॉर्म मध्ये सांगतात. कशासाठी सांगतात, कारण त्यांना फिजिशियनचं अटेन्शन पाहिजे असतं, त्यांना त्यांचा वेळ वाचवायचा असतो. जर क्लिनिकमध्ये आले तर बाहेर जे वेटिंग रूम आहे त्याच्यामध्ये बसल्यावर ते काय करणार, विनाकारण म्हणणार की माझं खूप पोट दुखतंय, खूप पोट दुखतंय, माझं डोकं दुखतंय, की जेणेकरून त्यांचा आधी नंबर येईल. म्हणजे वेटिंगला त्यांना थांबायचं नसतं. असे हायपोकॉन्ट्रॅक्ट पेशंट असतात. आणि जे पण कंप्लेंट आहे ती कशी सांगतात ते इन द एक्झॅग्रेटेड फॉर्म, वाढवून चढवून सांगतात. कशासाठी, कारण की फिजिशियननी त्यांच्याकडेच लक्ष दिलं पाहिजे, त्यांना पटकन ट्रीट केलं पाहिजे आणि त्यांचा स्वतःचा वेळ वाचला पाहिजे. मग त्यांना ती सवयच असते की प्रत्येक गोष्ट वाढवून चढवून सांगायची. थोडं जरी त्रास होत असला तर एकदम मोठा आवाज करून रडून वगैरे ते काय करतात, त्यांचे कंप्लेंट एक्सप्लेन करतात. ते कसे असतात, हायपोकॉन्ट्रॅक्ट पेशंट असतात. आणि जे काही इंडॉलंट पेशंट असतात ते काय असतात की त्यांना काहीच घेणं देणं नसतं. एक तर ते लेझी असतात, त्यांच्या लक्षात पण राहत नाही की मला काय त्रास होतोय, आणि त्यांना ते वाटत नाही की आपण हे फिजिशियनला सांगितलं पाहिजे की हा मला त्रास होतोय. तर these आर द इंडॉलंट पेशंट. मग हे दोन्ही पण जे पेशंट आहेत, इट इज व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट टू टेक द केस टेकिंग ऑफ दिस पेशंट, ॲज one patient gives the wrong interpretation and second patient do not tell anything. So these are the hypochondriac patient and the indolent patient. Understand? Yes, Vijay. आवाज येतोय मला तुझा, कळालं का? येस, आवाज येतोय का बाकीच्यांना माझा? ओके. So the next group of aphorisms are the aphorisms that is related to the drug proving. And in this drug proving, in third year, you have long questions related to the drug proving. So these are the huge number of aphorisms. That is aphorism number 105 to 145, near about 40 aphorisms for the drug proving. And in this, you have to remember the different aphorisms that is related to the drug proving. And in this, mainly what are the different questions that is asked, we will take that. That is, in this aphorism number 117, that is idiosyncrasy, it is the important question that is asked for a 2 marks, 5 marks, or that is repeatedly asked question for 2 marks or 5 marks. Idiosyncrasies. Then you have to remember about the method of preparation of medicines. Then what are the qualities of a prover, or what are the different guidelines given for, of a drug proving. Then you have to remember about, that is, what is done in the literate prover, what is done in the illiterate prover, and what are the different guidelines, that is, or who is the ideal prover. This all explained in this drug proving. So these are the different guidelines of drug proving given by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann in these aphorisms. So for this reason you have to remember the long question also, that is of drug proving. They only ask about, that is explain about the drug proving or the different methods of drug proving, or what are the qualities of prover, then what is idiosyncrasy, then what is about the literate prover, what is about the illiterate prover, then who is the ideal prover, and all these things that is explained in these aphorisms. Or how to record the symptoms of a patient, that is recording of symptoms of patient, it is also important, and this is given from aphorism number 105 to 145. So I think all of you understand about the drug proving. Then next group of aphorisms is aphorism number 146 to 154, and in this they explain about the method of selection of medicine. Up to 145 we do the drug proving, we see the effect of medicine on the prover. Now from aphorism number 146 to 154, it is related to the method of selection of medicine. What are the different methods on the basis of which we will select the medicine for the patient? And in this, the aphorism number 146, it is related to idea about employment of medicine to get the perfect homeopathic cure. Then specific remedy, that is explained in aphorism number 147. You have to remember it. Homeopathic specific remedy. What is the homeopathic specific remedy? Anyone? Anyone can tell about homeopathic specific remedy? माहिती आहे का होमिओपॅथिक स्पेसिफिक रेमेडी म्हणजे काय? हे जे काही ॲफोरिझम्स आहेत, स्पेसिफिक ॲफोरिझम्स, तर ते तुम्हाला लक्षात ठेवायचे आहेत. आता याच्यामध्ये 147 महत्वाचं आहे, कारण की 2 मार्क्ससाठी ते विचारतात व्हॉट इज होमिओपॅथिक स्पेसिफिक रेमेडी. नंतर 150 इन डिस्पोजिशन विचारतात. So in 147, homeopathic specific remedies are not on the disease classification. Homeopathic remedies are not prescribed on the disease classification, but the medicine which are matched with the patient, that perfect matching of the medicine, that we call it as a homeopathic specific remedy. Then aphorism number 148, it is related to natural disease caused by dynamic inimical agency. Then aphorism number 149, that is chronic diseases takes proportionate time to cure. Then again you have to remember the aphorism number 150, that is related to the indisposition, that is slight alteration in the state of health, that we call it as a indisposition. It is explained in aphorism number 150. Then aphorism number 151, it is related to important diseases have number of symptoms. Aphorism number 152, it is related to acute disease selection is easy. Aphorism number 153, for choice of remedy, striking, singular, uncommon, and symptoms of the disease should be considered. Then aphorism number 154, it is related to homeopathic medicines are acute disease without much disturbances. So in this group of aphorism, you mainly have to remember the aphorism number 147, that is homeopathic specific remedy, and 150, that is related to indisposition. All of you are listening? Okay, that is the group of aphorism 146 to 154. Today we will call for a second meeting also, that is time is that is 5 to 6 minutes are remaining, but after that we will call the second meeting, so you have to join again, huh? Okay. Then the next group of aphorism is aphorism number 155 to 160. And in this aphorism they explain about the dose of a medicine, and in this mainly they explain aphorism number 155, that is what is mean by appropriate dose. Then aphorism number 156, it is the homeopathic aggravation and the potency. Aphorism number 157, it is homeopathic aggravation and the medicinal aggravation. That is all about the homeopathic aggravation, mainly explained in these aphorisms also. That is homeopathic aggravation. What is homeopathic aggravation? What is medicinal aggravation? What is disease aggravation? That part which will completed separately. Then 158, that is homeopathic aggravation in acute disease. 159, smaller the dose, slight is the aggravation. Then 160, it is the removal of symptoms without disturbances. So that is 155 to 160 mainly related to dose, and in this mainly they explain about the homeopathic aggravation, medicinal aggravation and the disease aggravation. Then aphorism number 161 to 171. This is also an important question in the third year, that is the remedy reaction. What is the remedy reaction? It is explained in 161 to 171. And in this, when we prescribe the remedy, what are the different actions that is occurred in a patient, that we call it as a remedy reaction. And this is the part related to the Kent's 12 observation. That is Kent's 12 observation related to that remedy reaction, that is when we give the medicine, what are the different changes that may occur in a patient. So in this, in 161 they explain about the homeopathic aggravation in acute and chronic diseases. Then partial selection of, when we do the partial selection of similimum, then what are the appearance of accessory symptoms. Then if you have few rare similar symptoms and their cure, if unhomeopathic medicine is prescribed, then rare use of selection of unhomeopathic medicine, wrong in selection of acute disease, that you have to antidote. Then what are the follow up of a patient, then analogous medicine, then follow up, and 171, that is the use of antisoric medicines. So this is the reaction that is occurred after giving the remedy to the patient, and that we call it as a remedy reaction. Aphorism number 161 to 171. Then the next group of aphorisms, that is the one of the most important question, that is starting from this aphorism, that is 172. So 172 to 184, it is related to one-sided diseases, and it is also important question that is asked for exam. You must know about what is mean by one-sided diseases. The diseases having a few symptoms, that we call it as a one-sided diseases. Then the classification of one-sided diseases and the treatment of one-sided diseases. In all these different types of diseases, you have to remember what is mean by that disease condition, that is the definition of that disease condition. Then you have to remember the classification of diseases, and thirdly you have to remember about the treatment of that disease condition. So in this aphorism 172 to 184, it is related to one-sided diseases, and in this 172 it is one-sided diseases and imperfect selection of similimum. Then what is the definition, then classification, then one-sided diseases with internal complaint, one-sided diseases, that is careful initial examination of one-sided diseases, then selection of medicine in internal one-sided diseases, effect of medicine, then effect of medicine, it may be for a cure or it is a recovery, then appearance of accessory symptoms, then natural disease accessory symptoms due to medicine, discovery of remedy, then what to do, then continue as a previous till complete cure. So in this they explain about what is mean by one-sided diseases, classification of one-sided diseases, and thirdly the treatment of one-sided diseases. That is aphorism number 172 to 184. And in classification you know that is one-sided diseases divided into, that is having a internal complaint and the external complaint. So In external complaint, the next aphorism started, that is the local diseases. That is one-sided diseases having the external complaint. The local diseases also one of the long question. You have to remember this group of aphorisms. That is aphorism number 185 to 203. So you um, must remember in mind, that is aphorism number 172 to 184, that is the one sided diseases. Then secondly 185 to 203, that is the local diseases. And these local diseases, they also explain about the definition of local maladies, then acute local maladies, what are the different external causes, chronic local maladies, internal cause. As local diseases, it may having a internal cause or it may having a external cause also. Then what are the different misconceptions of local maladies, that is when to use the, what are the different misconceptions of local maladies regarding using of a local medicine, then clarification of misconception, then management of local medicines, signs of improvement, what are the different signs, then use of external application, as it is applicable in homeopathy or not, then what are the selection of medicine, then local diseases, that is of syphilitic or psychotic nature, then topical employment of medicines, then partial selection of simillimum and the local application, internal dynamic remedy, effect of late treatment, local maladies in allopathic treatment, local maladies and external application, that is related to local diseases and the external application, that all about these things, what are the conception, misconception, what is the guideline given by Dr. Hahnemann, all these are explained in these aphorisms, that is aphorism number 185 to 203, that is the local diseases. Now the next group of aphorism is aphorism number 204 to 209, and mainly they explain about some type of chronic diseases in these aphorisms, that is 204 to 209, that is the types of chronic diseases. And in this, Yes, can audible?
Oh man.
Okay, so starting with next part, that is aphorism number 204 to 209. It is related to chronic diseases, that is types of chronic diseases, chronic disease manifestation, and all these, what are the different obstacles that comes in the chronic diseases explained in this aphorism, that is 104 to 209. Then the next main group of aphorisms starting, that is the 210 to 230, and this is related to mental diseases. This is also a common long question that is asked in a third year exam, that is the mental diseases 210 to 230, and you properly remember this question as this is asked repeatedly in the exam. That is 210 is related to mental one-sided diseases difficult to treat. Then 211, it is present characteristic symptoms are helpful for the selection of remedy. Then 212, it is each medicine brings change in state of mind and disposition. 213, selection of homeopathic medicine in such diseases. 214, treatment of mental diseases. 215, mental and the corporeal diseases are the same. 216, somatopsychic type. 217, disease portrait is equal to mental plus physical symptoms. That is all. In this you have to mainly remember what is mean by mental diseases, classification of mental diseases, and what is the treatment of mental diseases. So in this mainly they explain about the four types of mental diseases, that is mental diseases having a psychic origin, mental diseases having a physical origin, then mental diseases of doubtful origin. All these are the different types of mental diseases, or third one, that is the emotional diseases. Sorry, fourth one, that is emotional diseases. So these are the four types of mental diseases. You have to remember proper classification and along with the treatment of each type of mental diseases. So this is also very important question from a exam point of view, that is you have to remember what is mean by mental diseases, then classification of mental diseases, and thirdly the treatment of each type of mental diseases. That is explained in aphorism number 210 to 230. Then the next main group of aphorisms starting, that is the 231 to 244, that is intermittent and the alternating diseases. You must understand about the long questions in the third year, that is the drug proving 105 to 145. Then next group of aphorisms is remedy reaction. The next group of aphorism is the one-sided diseases. The next group of aphorism is local maladies or the local diseases. The next group of aphorism that is important as a long question, that is the mental diseases. Then next also the group of aphorisms, that is the intermittent diseases or the alternating diseases. These are also asked for a 2-mark question. It can be asked for a 5 marks, or it can be asked for a long question, that is what is meant by intermittent diseases or the alternating diseases. And in this mainly they explain about what is mean by intermittent diseases. It is classified into febrile, febrile disease conditions, then alternating diseases, typical intermittent diseases, their examples and their management. And what is the repetition or management means, that is the treatment of these intermittent diseases or the alternating diseases. What are the different guidelines given by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann for the treatment of these type of diseases. So aphorism number 131 to 244, this is related to intermittent and the alternating diseases. Then next group is aphorism number 245 to 258, that is the homeopathic posology. It is also important part from the practical point of view also, and from the theoretical point of view also. That is you must know about the posology, that is the study of dose, that you call it as a posology. In this, what are the different diet and regimen, mode of employing medicines, then mode of employing the remedies in chronic diseases, repetition of dose, all these, how you will antidote the medicine, how you will repeat the medicine, how you remove the obstacles in the way of cure, all these things that is given in homeopathic posology, and that is aphorism number 245 to 258, homeopathic posology. Then the next, in this you have to remember the favorite remedy, all these question for 2 marks, that is the favorite remedy that is explained in aphorism number 257. Then aphorism number 259 and 263, this is also common question, diet and regimen, that is asked in an exam for a 5 marks question, that is the diet and regimen. This is explained in 259 to 263, and in this mainly they explain which are the diet which is applicable and which are the diet which is not applicable in the homeopathic while we are taking the homeopathic medicine, or what is the importance of regimen in chronic diseases, they also explain. So you must know what are the things that you have to took during the homeopathic treatment and what are the different things you do not took during the homeopathic treatment. This is aphorism number 259 to 263. Then the next group of aphorism is homeopathic pharmacy. This is 264 to 272. Mainly this is the practical part, so not so much questions asked on this part, that is the homeopathic pharmacy. It is related to the practical part, but you must know about the methods of dynamization, that is what are the potentization, what are the succussions, and all these things you studied in the pharmacy in first year. So this is the group of aphorism, that is 264 to 272, that is related to the homeopathic pharmacy. Then aphorism number 273 to aphorism number 274, that is the law of simplex. It is again explained the law of simplex. What is law of simplex? That is the single simple medicine you have to prescribe at one time. In this 173, single or complex medicines they explain, and 274 they explain about the advantages of single medicine. Then the next group of aphorism is 275 to 283, that is the strength of the dose for homeopathic use, that is what is the potency of the medicine you use for a homeopathic cure, and in this they explain about what is mean by homeopathic, that is minimum dose, what is mean by the effect of a high potency, then how you select the potency, then homeopathically selected medicines, then homeopathic aggravation, and all these things, that is explained 275 to 283. In this you have to mainly remember about the minimum dose. Then next group of aphorism is 284 to 285, that is route of administration, how you give the medicine to the patient, what are the different routes, that is explained in 284 to 285, these two aphorisms. And in this, what part of the body are susceptible to the influence of remedies, that is the part is the route of administration. And secondly, 285 they explain about the external application of medicine, as it is applicable or not, this is given in aphorism number 285. Now the last group of aphorisms, that is the different auxiliary measures that is used during the time of Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, and in this these are also important questions from a theoretical part of view, as it is asked in an exam, that is aphorism 286 to 291, that is what is mean by electricity galvanism, what is the mineral magnet, then what is the mesmerism, what is the massage, and what is the bath. All these are the short note questions that is asked for 5 marks also, or can be asked for 2 marks. So you have to remember about electricity galvanism, massage, bath, mesmerism, and all these things. So these are the different group of aphorisms from aphorism number 1 to aphorism number 291, and in third year syllabus you have all these aphorisms, that is aphorism number 1 to aphorism number 291, and along with this it having also footnote. The main important footnote you have to remember, not all the, but what are the main footnotes that you have to remember regarding these aphorisms. So this is aphorism number 1 to 291, summary of these aphorisms or the quick review of this aphorism. So all of you understand about these aphorisms. It is a quick review. You have to properly read these aphorisms, you have to properly understand, and what are the main important aphorisms you have to remember and write accordingly. So all of you understand, or anyone having any difficulty, you can discuss with me a bit. Yes, all of you understand. Okay, now this is the last lecture for your third year from my side. Asra ma'am will take lecture. Please talk.
Yes, ma'am.
सगळ्यांना कळालंय का? जेवढा सिलेबस झालाय तेवढा.
हो मॅम.
ओके, आता मी शिकवणार नाहीये थर्ड इयर मध्ये तुम्हाला आता, कारण लगेच एक्झाम आहे. मी आत्ताच कॉलेजला काही येत नाहीये, त्याच्यामुळे व्यवस्थित अभ्यास करा, व्यवस्थित एक्झाम द्या, व्यवस्थित पेपर लिहा.
ना कॉलेज.
काय?
हो मॅम. कॉलेज आवा ना मैम.
नहीं, मैं छुट्टी पे हूँ. मी लीव वरती आहे, त्याच्यामुळे आता कॉलेजला येणार नाही. दिस इज द लास्ट लेक्चर फ्रॉम माय साइड. Asra ma'am will take the remaining syllabus or guide for the exam, practical, oral, all the things.
हॅलो.
हाँ, यस विजय.
कब
आवाज येत नाही विजय मला.
मॅम क्लिअरन्स तुम्ही देणार ना?
क्लिअरन्स सगळं आसरे मॅमच देणार आहेत.
मॅम पण आत्रे मॅमला कसं माहित पडणार की आम्ही बसलोय की नाही बसलोय?
नाही, मी सेंड करते ना त्यांना, सगळे अटेंडन्स सेंड करते मी त्यांना, ते देतील क्लिअरन्स.
तुम्ही सर्व हे करून देणार आहेत का, फक्त त्या साइन करून देणार आहे?
हो सांगणार, मी पाठवते त्यांना सगळे फोटोज, ते देतील कॅल्क्युलेट करून. अटेंडन्स पाठवते मी त्यांना.
ठीक आहे मॅम.
चालेल, सगळे व्यवस्थित अभ्यास करा, व्यवस्थित पेपर लिहा.
मॅम
नाही, आवाज येते, कृष्णा बोलतोय विजयच्या ह्याच्यावरनं, पण आवाज क्लिअर येत नाहीये मला.
हो मॅम, नेटवर्क इश्यू आहे मॅम.
हा चालेल. ओके, कोणाला अभ्यासात काही अडचण असेल तर अभ्यासाविषयी जर विचारायचं असेल तर विचारू शकता, नंतर पण कॉल करून.
हो मॅम.
जागृती नाही कळालं मला.
प्रज्ञा होती मॅम, प्रज्ञा.
प्रज्ञा होती का? Okay, so we will stop here. All the best for study and
Yes,
the
ma'am.
exam. All of you take care.
Yes.
And all the best. So can I end the meeting?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, all the best and bye.